Hello, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Hope you're having an awesome day or night, depending on where you are. Okay, so tonight I want to get into the Mandela effect. Now, I don't know how many people or how many of you believe in the Mandela effect, how many of you think it's real, it's not real, if you've ever even looked into it. But it is a huge phenomenon and it is so insane to me because there are specific things that I remember as a child and now they try to tell you that that never happened. That's not real. That never existed. And so the Mandela effect is very, very interesting to me. So let's just get into some of it. All right. So the Mandela effect origins and explanations. How masses of people can have the same false memory. And it is too. It's so bizarre. The Mandela effect refers to a situation in which a large mass of people believes that an event occurred when it did not. The term was originated in 2009 by Fiona Broome after she discovered that she, along with a number of others, believed that Nelson Mandela had died in the 1980s when he actually died in 2013. Looking at the origin of the Mandela effect, some famous examples, as well as some potential explanations for this strange confluence of perceptions, can help to shed light on this unique phenomenon. Okay. Broome was talking with others, people, about how she remembered the tragedy of former South African President Nelson Mandela's death in a South African prison in the 1980s. Now, I literally, when I was a kid, remember my teacher talking about it. I want to say I was in like third grade, and my teacher was talking about it, and she said how upset she was when she had found out that he died in prison. And now, here we are, and they say that never happened. He actually died in 2013. However, Nelson Mandela did not die in the 1980s in a prison. He passed away in 2013. As Broome began to talk to other people about her memories, she learned that she was not alone. Others remembered seeing news coverage of his death as well as a speech by his widow. Broome was shocked that such a large mass of people could remember the same identical event in such detail when it never happened. Encouraged by her book publisher, she began her website to discuss what she called the Mandela effect and other incidents like it. Okay, so here are some other examples. Um, Actually, I won't go through those, but okay, I'll go through a couple of them. So, Henry VIII eating a turkey leg. People had a memory of a painting of Henry VIII eating a turkey leg, but no such painting has ever existed. Luke, I am your father. You probably remember Darth Vader uttering the famous line, Luke, I am your father. You might be surprised to learn that the line was actually, no, I am your father. So he was asking Luke, who's the fairest of them all? You may be shocked to learn that the line actually began with the phrase magic mirror on the wall. Now, I grew up on Disney VHSs. Okay. My grandpa one day had gotten me this huge box of Disney VHSs. So I like watched these movies over and over and over again. And I know for a fact, okay, that it was mirror on the wall. But according to the internet, it never existed that way. And then you have Oscar Mayer against Oscar Mayer, the location of New Zealand. Where is New Zealand in relation to Australia? If you look at a map, you will see that it is southeast of the country. However, there is a community of people who claim to remember New Zealand being northeast instead of southeast. The Berenstain Bears, a lot of people said it was the Berenstain Bears. So the spelling changed a little bit. Shazam. Again, a 90s kid. So I remember Sinbad. He was on the cover of Shazam, and it was called Shazam. I saw the movie. It was a basketball movie about magic or something. But no, no such movie ever existed. Many people report remembering Pikachu, a Pokemon character, as having a black tipped tail. Nope, solid yellow the whole time. Let's see. How many of you ever remember Mickey Mouse wearing a pair of suspenders? Right? Like like a lot of us. Nope, according to the internet, Mickey Mouse never once wore suspenders. Now, explanations for the Mandela effect. A more likely explanation for the Mandela effect involves false memories. Before we consider what is meant by false memories, let's look at an example of the Mandela effect, as it will help us to understand how memory can be faulty and may lead to the phenomenon that we are describing. Who was Alexander Hamilton? Most Americans learned in school that he was a founding father of the United States of America, but that he was not a president. However, when asked about the presidents of the United States, how many people mistakenly believe that Hamilton was a president? Why? If we consider a simple neuroscience explanation, the memory for Alexander Hamilton is encoded in an area of the brain where the memories for the presidents of the United States are stored. The means by which memory traces are stored is called the engram, and the framework in which similar memories are associated with each other is called the schema. Could have said that wrong. But so they're saying, because when you think of Alexander Hamilton, the thoughts that you have of him are stored in the same part of your brain as where you would think of presidents. So it comes out that way. I I don't believe that hundreds of thousands of millions of people all have the same false memory because of somewhere that it's stored in the brain. Like, I just don't believe that, but that's just my opinion. Okay. Confabulation involves your brain filling in gaps that are missing in your memories to make more sense of them. This isn't lying, but rather remembering details that never happened. Confabulation tends to increase with age. So, according to this, your brain has gaps, and it just randomly uh fills in thoughts in these gaps, that and you remember things that never happened. I don't buy that either. Misleading post-event information. Information that you learn after an event can change your memory of an event. This includes event subtle information and helps to explain why eyewitness testimony can be unreliable. But then you would have to say, well, a lot of eyewitness testimony is reliable. So, you know what I'm saying there? Priming. Priming describes the factors leading up to an event that affects our perception of it, also called suggestibility and presupposition. Priming is the difference between asking how short a person is versus how tall a person is. Saying, "Did you see the black car?" instead of "a black car" makes a subtle suggestion that influences response and memory. In essence, memories are vulnerable bits of information stored in the brain that can be changed over time. While we assume that our memories are accurate, this is not necessarily the case. Okay, now stick with me here, guys. Alternate realities. One theory for the basis for the Mandela effect originates from quantum physics and relates to the idea that rather than one timeline of events, alternate alternate realities or universes may be taking place and mixing with our timeline. In theory, this would result in groups of people having the same exact memory because the timeline has been altered as we shift between these different realities. You aren't alone if you think this sounds unrealistic. See, okay, now, before I move on to that next paragraph, let me just say this. So, do you guys believe that there are parallel universes out there? Or do you just think that there's one universe and that's it? So, I'm going to poll you guys real quick. If you believe that there could possibly be parallel universes out there, put a 1 in the chat. If you believe that that's rubbish and there's only one universe, put a 2 in the chat for me. I just want to know where you guys stand with that. The next thing, I happen to be one that I believe there is a huge possibility of parallel universes. Why wouldn't there be? Think about the mass of everything. Like, I'm sure, in my opinion, that there are. Now, Would it be so crazy to think, especially with everything they're doing with CERN, with them trying to do these how do I want to these projects that um there could have been a shift in the timeline, right? So it could have just verged. They could have merged together and then separated back out, and whatever happened during that time, you know, a lot of us were stuck in that time, or a lot of people are in that timeline, right? So things happened in their brain. Stick with me, guys. Okay. While other people were not present during that moment or during that shift. And so they didn't, it didn't affect them. Right. But those of us that remember these specific things happening, it's, I mean, it's bizarre to, for the internet and everybody to say, listen, that never even happened. And you're like, what? Okay. You aren't alone if you think this sounds unrealistic. Unfortunately, the idea of alternate realities is unfalsifiable, meaning there is no way to disprove that these other universes don't exist. This is why such a far fetched theory continues to gain traction among the Mandela effect communities. You can't prove it's not real, so you can't discount the possibility of it. For many people, the excitement of a bit of mystery in everyday life is also likely comes into play. Okay, now I want to go over here and see if you notice up here, they just gave you other explanations of the Mandela effect and why it is to be, but they didn't discredit any of it until they got to the alternate realities where they had to put the discredit, to discredit it and talk about how far fetched of an idea it was. I'm just saying, you never know. Okay. Now I want to go over here and show you guys a couple of examples of what in the world I am talking about. Okay. So I hope you guys stuck with me on that one. I was trying to explain it, but listen, parallel universe, another universe, the time they just shifted together real quick. So the time lapse converged. And then, I mean, could it be? Because why do I remember something and you say it's not true? You know what I mean? Like the internet says that never existed. That's crazy to me. Now, I want to show you guys some of the more important, more noticeable things as far as the Mandela effect goes. Okay. Now, Looney Tunes is a good one because if think about watching this way back when Tunes was spelled Toons, and now it says it's spelled Tunes, and it was never like this. How many of you ever remember seeing Tunes like spelt this way on Looney Tunes? Mind blowing because I know he had one of those, right? And then Captain Crunch is one that really gets to me because I remember being a kid sitting at the breakfast table and you didn't have video games, you didn't have phones, and I didn't have a TV in my kitchen. So I would sit down and eat my cereal, and I would have the cereal box right in front of me, and I would look at the box while I was eating my cereal. I know 100% fact that it was Captain Crunch cereal, not Cap'n. It was Captain. Do any of you guys remember that? And another important one that really sticks out to me is Curious George. Back in the day, the cover of a lot of his books and a lot of the movies were the monkey hanging from the tree by his tail. If you look up Curious George today, they'll say he never had a tail. A, what kind of monkey doesn't have a tail? Okay. And B, how do so many of us remember his tail? The Monopoly guy, the tail, The Berenstein Bears. It was Berenstain or Berenstein. Okay. I mean, it's very bizarre, but of all of the things that of all of the explanations, falsified memories, um, your brain filling in gaps with random information or post information. You heard about it afterwards. Um, and then alternate realities. I mean, let me know. I definitely hear what your I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Because to me, yep, double stuffed Oreos is another one. There's double stuff, STUFF, or double stuffed, STUF. Which one do you guys remember there being? Let's scroll down. Yep, Coca-Cola had one too. So, do you guys remember the little squiggly line before the Coca-Cola? Or was there no squiggly line in between? I remember that there always being a squiggly line there. Nope, there never was. Never was. Oh, and another one is Kit Kat. Do you guys remember there being a break, like a line in between Kit Kat on the candy bar? It never existed. Guys, that was never there. I mean, what do you guys think the explanation for this is? I think this is a very interesting phenomenon, and it piques my interest. So I wonder where you guys stand with all that. I definitely want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, because I believe there's a lot of shit that happens like this, that a lot of people are unaware of. So don't think you're crazy if you remember something that somebody else doesn't, because you may not necessarily be crazy. You might just have been swept up in that timeline at that moment, and you have different memories than other people. I mean, it's just so crazy. I mean, if we really understood everything about the mind and how powerful the human mind is, and how powerful the brain is, I mean, it's really limitless, don't you think? All right, let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions and keep spreading that light. I'll see you guys next time.